I think my camera's foggy. Tuesday Night Live 003. Figured it'd take me forever to get online here, but it took 4 seconds. So I'm a little bit early tonight. So welcome, dudes. Jared's going to jump on here in a minute and take over. I had a little procedure done today, so I'm coming off anesthesia a bit. I'm feeling okay, but also like not completely okay, which is fine. So yeah, 90 days ago, and then prior to that for 6 months or better, I was having some pretty wicked stomach issues, and so they put me under 90 days ago, put a camera down, checked me out. I'd had something flared up from 10 or 15 years ago, and so I spent the last 90 days really affecting my diet, and so today we went in and looked, and I healed a lot, fixed a lot of stuff naturally, which, and we're going to talk about that more, just not tonight, but I do have a little bit of stuff that I need to get healed up more, I guess is the word. So I'm going to take basically some Prilosec for 90 days. This will be the first time I've done anything like that in a long time, so been a little bit to overcome. But anyway, so I'm a little under the weather, a little lack of energy, big things happening, and that's good. But I think tonight, Jared talking about organization and goals, or goals and organization, is going to be a great thing, because all of us might think that we have good goals or set good goals or things of that nature, right? And so sometimes our goals aren't good enough, they're not big enough, or whatever. Sometimes we need to set goals so big they scare us to death. And sometimes if you don't, then that's a thing to look at. And I don't have a lot of analytical power in the old brain tonight. But goals are important, and setting goals is huge. So and we should never be done setting goals, right? We can be satisfied and content, but we should never not want to do more or level up or learn more or whatever the case is, right? So setting goals, Jared's phrase, what is it? Smash, shift, measure, adjust, shit happens, right? That's a real thing. So whether you're working a factory line or whether you're running a multi-million-dollar business, I think goals, organizing your goals is a huge thing. Setting realistic goals, setting goals great enough, and then what is that? What is great enough? What does your forecast look like, for your own life, for your own experiences? So very good night to be here. I wish I was a little bit more with it, but that's okay too. Taking care of myself, right? Finding out what's happening and going from there. I'm looking for something. See, that's so weird that happens. Anywho, so recap. We're on Tuesday Night Live number 3. Tuesday Night Live number 2. I can't remember. Jared, where you at, buddy? We need to get this party started. And for some reason I can't find you. There's David, there's Dawn. Gentlemen, dudes, how are you? Dustin got on here and talked about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, which is a beautiful thing. Let's see. Then he did pop in this week and give us the old porn talk, which is a good one, man. It is. It's very destructive. So I'm going to add Jared here, and works. Says it's adding on my end. Hey, there he is.
Hello, Sam.
Look, Jared, I gave a nice introduction, said you're going to talk about some goals and some organization tonight, and definitely want to hit on
Do we know if we're setting goals big enough or high enough?
Good.
Because sometimes we think like we're just absolutely, uh, we got this thing hooked and launched and we're grabbing all the gears, but like, are we at the right racetrack? You know? So my my depth of my brain power is real thin tonight. I can feel it coming off anesthesia, but I'm here, so I'm going to let you take over. If I can figure out maybe how to remove myself, I will. If not, don't mind me. I'm here and I'm around, and I can't wait to hear this and catch the notes from it because I can set goals. What I have a problem doing is that journaling, tracking, following up. That's why you and me having accountability partners all those years ago was such a big thing. I can't. I don't do it. So
Sure.
maybe we'll hit on that. But anyway, I'm out of here. You do your thing. Appreciate it.
Yeah, well, don't get out of it because you will kill the whole thing, I think. But anyway,
Okay. I'm
I
out
like
of
where
here.
you started. I like where you started. You said, is my goal big enough? And what I wanted to start with was don't set too big of goals. But that's good. I was looking
I
at,
said we have to have realistic goals, but
that's
then it's
good.
like you have to have a forecast. And if you don't know where you're going, you're never going to get there. And if
Yeah,
we have a direction, is that at its peak? Do we know at that thought process, is that the greatest existence within that thought process?
sure. I'm going to throw a roll call over here on the sideline. If you're watching right now, throw your name out there or just send a period, whatever, because I want to see there's 4 people watching live, which is great. I did reach out to Cagle and told him what we were going over. He's painting a bus. A couple other people I'm sure will join us by the end of the night. Everybody kind of gets a notification. There's Dave. I see that. So yeah, I told Sam I wanted to go over goals. I want to hear what your guys' goals are. So again, this can be really interactive. Sam had told me he wasn't going to be here. I've had a lot going on, which is fun. I was also tired. We couldn't both just go to sleep, so we're here. Um, I also want to talk about what a goal is. I mean, you set one for yourself, you set one for your business, you set some for your life. You look at all those different parts and pieces. I had a conversation the other day with a kid that we were talking about his life plan. What's up, Travis? See you over there too. And he was just talking about, man, do I have a life plan? And you know, he's 10 years younger than me. He's in the group now, not here tonight, but uh, just talking about that. And when he's 10 years younger, man, he starts spitting out what his life plans are. Is like, you got to realize, like 10 years ago, those were my life plans. He recited everything from 2017 that I had on there, and I'll probably review a little bit of that. I think there's also some other things to look at. I think we look at our physical goals. I think we should look at some of our mental health goals. I always do vacation and debt goals along with savings. Debt's one of those things I battle. Everybody thinks I'm baller, shot caller, but I just roll a bunch of debt all the time. What's up, Dustin? Glad to see you there, buddy. So I'm going to invite everybody to come back. Again, this is one of those things. Sam started making videos back in the day on Sammy's yoga session. He did a seated yoga session, and we didn't know why or whatever. He had a calling to do it that day, but later somebody was in an accident and they needed that. And I said, I know right where that's at. So I went to Sammy's yoga sesh, pulled up that seated video, and they sat there in a hospital bed and did that therapy. So again, we're throwing this out there for 2026 goals. I see Don's joining us tonight. What's up, Don? I hope you guys can interact. On the mobile app, down the lower left, if you touch the screen, it'll have a little person and a plus sign. You can ask to join. And so Sam or I will allow you guys to join. We'll talk for 5 or 10 minutes and then we'll kick you out, or maybe we just keep rolling. Typically, we're going to try to do this for an hour. It's already a little daunting, you know, doing it every single Tuesday at 8 p.m. I've got that commitment, that mental commitment, but man, like it burns in me for 6 days. Like my goal is to try to do this for a year, I guess. And we were so bad at it 3 weeks ago. We're getting better now where we just actually show up and get on here. So guys, if you want to comment on the side and say what some of your goals are, outline them a little bit. Like I said, physical, mental, maybe it's a vacation, maybe it's debt or savings. Look at those things. If you got a couple things in life plan, throw them out there. Or if you want to join us, you can. So I'm going to break down my year. I just set my business goals for 2026, and you know it's all a math problem. So that's what it is. I'm gonna do it like business because that's how I run my life, and then we can look at all the other stuff. Everything's math. Everything's numbers. If you've got a weight goal, then you're going to change your calories, or you're going to increase your calories burned, that kind of thing. You're going to look at your physical fitness and how much you're spending. So when I look at the year, I'm breaking it down by quarters because I'm a quarter kind of guy. We've got seasons. We've got 4 seasons to battle here in Kansas. So I look at what my quarterly goals are. The easiest goal for me is October, November, December, because it gets cold. I slow down. I become lethargic. I intentionally do this, and I kind of launch one side of my business. I go buy a bunch of inventory. I get things ready for spring. I'm in this reconditioning phase. But if I didn't have that push, that uptick there, that's where I kind of spend some money, then I would be bored out of my mind because sales start slowing down. Excuse me. People say to not blame seasonality stuff, but it's real, and I don't care. I'm not fighting it. I would rather go with the ebb and flow of the season. So I set my year-end goals first, like what I'm doing those last 3 months. And if I haven't gotten done by October, like it's just not happening. I don't count on anything extra happening in November, December. January, I've either teed everything up and I'm ready to go, which I'm behind right now, at least 45 days, and that drives me crazy. So I'm teeing it up and I'm ready to go, or I'm behind and I'm panicking. And now at 43, I don't really panic. So it just is what it is. So I'm looking at those kind of quarters. You get into your springtime, you get into some of that rainy season. I mean, we all battle some of the seasonal depression, whether it's not enough sunshine, whether it's rain, whether it's snow. Now it's cold. I mean, we were blessed to have 65-degree days just the other day. So be happy about that. But also, you got to know what's happening in the summertime. Teachers or some of those people that have seasonal jobs, you might be a lot less busy and have your time back during the summertime. Or if you're a guy that mows lawns for a living, you might be busy as all get out. So you got to look at those kind of things. So look at this in quarters before you start breaking it down. The next thing we're going to do is monthly goals. So again, for January, my monthly goal is typically to not lose my mind because of how much Christmas costs. So I'm financially going downhill still in January. I've made it to October. I'm going downhill. I'm seeing savings depleted. I'm seeing debt start to rise. And again, it's this big ebb and flow. So when you start tracking all these things that are associated with your goals, then you can kind of get them in order, get them in your mind, and know what's going on, not be bothered so much by them. So, Sam, I'm throwing a lot out there. I know you're just chilling out right now. Anything you want to add on that before I start breaking some stuff down? Okay. I'm going to throw a couple more things at you expense-wise. My wife and I are so bad when we look at budget and expenses. It's like, all right, how about gifts? Are we buying anybody gifts? We don't want to buy birthday present gifts. We don't buy Christmas gifts, and we don't expect any of them, but they still happen. And when my kiddos' friends invite them somewhere, now you're spending $40 a whack. And how many times does that happen? And for how many kids? Like the simple answer is it's $1,000 in gifts to people that I don't see often, and don't know well. But that reciprocates back to my kids. So don't forget about gifts. As everybody's talked about, don't forget about tithes. If you're going to church, you need to be tithing and doing that. And I'm bad about it. I don't do it. So I'll just make that clear up front. But that's another thing to consider. I'm going to get into the monthly stuff next. So you guys over there in the comments, if you've got a certain season or quarter that you like to mentally start with, tell me what that is. Otherwise, I'm going to tell you where I start at, and it's probably going to be in July. No comments yet. That's fine. Glad that everybody is here. Sam, why do you like big goals? Right as you muted, I'll bring you back in. Sam might not have heard me, or he froze. Dave hates winter. I hate winter too, Dave. It's cold. There's not enough sunshine. Business slows down. People call in sick. Everybody's got a runny nose. Okay, macro cycle, micro cycle, and it's a mess. Tax season. Travis, do you like tax season? Do you hate tax season? Tell me more about that a little bit if you don't mind. I hate taxes. All right, we're going to start from January because T-Pain's got a great idea. Tax season's here. So let's talk about that. You're either getting money back or you're paying money in. You got to collect all your receipts. You got to look at what life actually cost for the year previously. Sometimes we just grab some documents, we take them to a CPA, turn them in, give them access to credit cards, give them access to check account. That's the easy way to do it. I wish mine worked like that. So that's one of my goals, and I'm going to write it down. Taxes. because I historically hate them. I do them late, or I just wait to see if I need to do them. So taxes is a goal and has been one of mine for 2026. Um, tell me a little bit about tell me about these cycles, Sam. You got time to break into that?
I do. I probably don't have the brain power, but as you're talking and you say yearly and quarterly and like that, I check out. Like, skeleton
Really?
left the building, right? Like those terms don't that don't mean anything to me in a year. Like, because a lot of well, there's a certain population of people that the calendar's not it's not their priority, right? And so if that's not a priority, then how do you break that down? And so part of what I'm learning in my CPT class, and that's how I've essentially been done things in life is row cycle is your year or your 18 months or your 24 months or whatever, right? And then your micro brings that down into your daily or your weekly, where maybe it's not a daily thing or weekly thing. Maybe it's a bi-weekly thing. That's your smaller section. And then your mesocycle is what essentially like your quarter. Like it could be a month to 3 months. And so sometimes, and I don't know how many dudes are going to watch this. At one point, I could assure there would be dudes that would appreciate this difference in timing and verbiage, just to follow something different, you know. And I can assure you also, as the health regime starts to change in this country and we all start learning about proteins and fats and carbs, we're going to break things down into the macros. And so that's going to become more popular language in in other aspects as anything that takes the mainstream. So as that shifts into that, that might not be a bad way to look at things. Like my macro, like, in a year, this is like what I want to get done, or 2 years, or a college kid's 4 years, or a dad, a new dad could say, I'm going to break this raising my kid down in different sections, like 0 to 6 months, 6 months, whatever, right? And so we can just look at this differently. We don't have to have that hard line of annually, quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily. You can be like, well, it's like I kind of run like a 2 week thing, and you might see this as your business develops. Like, there's no sense in doing a daily. Like the day is going to do what the day is going to do. But if I know my week and my month is right, it doesn't matter what the day does. So just that kind of thing. Just another set of verbs.
Good. Good. I like it. I wrote down some things on goals, and then I was breaking it down to weekly. Once I get past weekly, then it almost becomes a task. So I cheated, and I can jump over here. I just asked Gemini, what's the difference between a goal and a task? Uh, think of a goal as your destination on a map, and a task is the individual steps you will take to get there. And you look at that, the broad outcome or result that you want to achieve is the goal. The specific action item required to each one is the outcome. Sam knows this. I'm very much a task oriented person. Like, as soon as I can write that box down and put the description beside it, I want to check that box as quick as I can, trying to get there. And I do think that I hit most goals, or at least I know where I'm aiming as I go. So that's a little bit about what he's talking right there. And I think that's good. I'm pulling out my planner from last year. I don't know if anybody else has picked up a planner or wants one, but that's where I have it all at. It says right here from January of 25, goals, task, daily habit tracker, doing my month to my end, and doing it starting correctly and ending correctly. I can't do anything for 30 days. I absolutely know that. I'm even seeing like this meeting after just 3 weeks. I don't do outside commitments. It's so hard for me. So that's a task, or that's a goal that I'm setting. But if I can do something from the start of the month to the end of the month, that would be huge. But if I'm doing it 60% of the time, that's probably better than most. That's better if I hadn't set the goal, So just track it. My 10 goals from last year were do the taxes. I needed to get them started or done. I wanted to do 30 days dry last January. I think I got to day 23, somewhere in there. I wanted to do meat and veggies only. So again, that's the whole 30. That's again for this month. That's the goal. I wanted to finish a little piece called Functionally, which was all the tasks that are broke down in our organization. And then I needed to hire some people. I broke down after that the task. And I think when I really started making goals versus task, I would just look at the task and go do it. So it was get some tax transcripts. It was to get some forms that I needed. It was to create some job postings and then have some private conversations. So again, just writing them at the beginning of the month made it good. I got that habit tracker. If you guys aren't tracking your habits every day, then your body's going to show it. But I'm going to blast through some of these just so you kind of know what I watch. I write down, did I stretch or did I do yoga? And then I just put little X's beside them each day. So here's all the habits, here's the days, and you can write them all out. We did a run, walk, or some kind of event. What have I got going each day? Did I get time to myself? Was it purposeful? Got on here, read or listen to a podcast. And these are on the same line. So they don't all have to happen, but hopefully one or the other does. I also track when I have time to play with my kids. So I just write down, did I play with my kids? Because each day when I'm looking at this thing, it reminds me what's important. I wrote down to have a date night. There's not enough of those in here. That's the thing. Like, we probably had enough family meals, but I probably didn't have enough date nights with just my wife. And we're fortunate we get some time, to ourselves. Did I have an early AM or an early PM? So again, it's not what time I woke up, but did I wake up early and was I purposeful? I started by checking that box, just saying, yeah, I had an early AM. Well, then I started changing to what time I woke up. So I just write down 5, 6, whatever it might be. So then I can go in and kind of see my sleep patterns too. Early PMs, if I went to bed early or not. Alcohol, I'm one of those guys that does drink, but then I started tracking how many beers I had or whether I had alcohol that day or not. There was more days with alcohol than without. And so then I see that habit. I got to decide if I'm okay with it or not. I looked at vacations. Were we able to do any fun stuff that day? Then we look at some real estate stuff we had going on. I was prepping for some real estate stuff. Taxes, you already know about that. And then progressing forward. Progressing forward is up to me to measure it each day. But some days you just think, man, I did not get anything done, or everything was coming at me. I was being attacked. And so if I can just say, did I progress forward? Yes, I did. And if I just stayed steady, fine. It's not very many days that I fall back and we have to reset or jump up off our butt. So that's good. Started doing these dumb air squats. Sam's got us doing air squats. Had a bum knee, so I had to go work on my knee, do a knee workout. Started tracking my salt and my lemon water. So just a bunch of stuff that didn't matter. And then I added hot tub and grounding. The beginning of the month, I probably had 8 things on there. And then as I was doing those 8, it was making me intentional enough that I started adding more. And then I'd realize like I wasn't tracking some of them, like that working on taxes, didn't even care about it. It did not make it to the next month. So I'm going to jump over here and let's look at this. He likes my PEX tubing. Yeah. Would you call that the first day, Sam? It was something different, but I do have that basement halo going on. February, I'm going to jump in here. I did a bunch of walking in January. So in February, I said I'm going to walk 20 miles. I didn't know if I could or I couldn't, but you guys know it from November. I did like 43 miles in November. So 20 wasn't that many. You just had to figure it out and you had to write it down and start. Then I had the goal to fix my knee because it was bad. I had a torn meniscus and so was really working on it. The creatine really helped. I know we've talked about it a little bit in the past. Drinking more water. I said I want to become the CEO or CFO of my life. And you guys all know that I left my role in October. Here's some early signs in February that things were a little shaky. Maybe I was saying this isn't okay with me. And so it was there. I don't swim much. Sam, I had a goal to swim 1/8 of a mile. And you can tell me how long that is. How far what kind of distance should I be able to swim as a guy that says, okay, yeah, I'm a swimmer now, I can go out and swim. Is there a distance or how do you measure this?
I would hope to assume the first level would be 100 yards nonstop.
Okay.
And then I would say the next one would be 400 yards nonstop. 500 really, 400 or 500 nonstop. And then if you can do that, you can do anything at that point.
How long's the length of the lap pool or whatever?
It depends. Some pools are 25, some are 50.
Okay. Whatever the YMCA has. I went down, turned around, came back, and I was gassed.
Yeah.
That was the distance. So that's probably like 30. That's what I'd say. Maybe it's 70.
Sure.
I doubt it. So
So we got some questions popping up in here. Check them out.
good. All right. Kendall says, "What's up?" Dustin Moody, serious question: are we setting too many goals? We're going over monthly goals right now, so yeah, I could definitely see what you mean. What's up, Michael? Good to see you, buddy. Any of you guys can jump in here. If you jump in that lower left on your phone, hit plus sign, say you want to come in, you can do it. Because I'm going to be rambling tonight while Sam's chilling out. Are we setting too many goals? It depends on if you're meeting them or not. You know what I mean? And then when is the goal just a task or like a combination of 3 tasks that wouldn't get done if I didn't write them down? So, yeah, we're going over monthly goals right now. They are some real small stuff. And then there's also bigger ones too. But jump in here and tell me what you got going on. I think what I realized by that second month of setting the goals was that maybe I didn't need to outline them as much. And then sometimes I just marked them off and said, that's not actually my goal. I'm not going to do that. So if I'm not going to do it, somebody else has to. And then I have to farm it out. So looks like March we got into the daily goals. And that was 20 push-ups, 20 sit-ups, 20 squats. That's going to seem real easy to you guys at this point, probably. But somebody probably needs that one. If you're not doing any of them, start with 20 every single day while you're making coffee. I do coffee or while I'm brushing my teeth. Got into Gary Brecka's and then touch my toes daily. That was one thing that I was not remembering to do. That yoga from the first month, I'd quit doing it. It was a bunch of those cold months. I was getting stationary, spending time in the truck, and that was not helping my body. So that was my goal, to spend time touching my toes daily. So I'm gonna keep skipping past this, and we're gonna set 2026s. But I gotta hear from somebody what some goals are, or what you need help with setting a goal, so we can figure that out. It's only 8:22 today, and that's fine. This one's gonna milk out for a little bit.
I like the question and the response of, are we setting too many goals? And then the response of, well, I don't know, are we accomplishing them, right? And so that kind of goes back loosely to what I was trying to say about setting big goals, right? Like too many, or a couple big staged ones, right? So like like that's kind of what this talks about, or kind of how I envisioned it, is like, how do we know if we're doing this the right way at all? Because we're men, and by golly, it's my way, and this is the way I've been doing it, or whatever. And it's like, cool. What happens if we shift the paradigm one degree, and then see what 1 degree in 6 months or a year does, versus what direction we were going? You know,
Sure.
Dave
Yeah.
got some words in there. I can't read them. Can you read them?
Yeah, he said, I'm a senior citizen, 63 next month, married at 28, got the 4th kid at 39. I wish this was around when I was your age. I admire you all and your goals. Keep it up. And that's great. I appreciate that for sure. I don't know, Sam, you hate that I do everything on a business calendar, but I'm very, very fortunate that I got taught that as a kid. And so I don't know. It's one of those things. When we look at Life Plan, I'll go back to 2017. We had some things going on in Pittsburgh. We were having a good time. We had the dealership open then, and things were groovy, but we had a 1-year-old, we had a 3-year-old, and we weren't in the town that my wife wanted to be in. And so we had to start exploring what that looked like. This was going to be a big move. We're going to have to move somewhere. And again, just 20 some days ago was 8 years since we've been in Wichita. So, I mean, that's kind of what happened. We checked the boxes. We got through Thanksgiving, we got through Christmas, and then we moved like January 6th or 7th out here. And then we looked at house. We said we wanted a house, and we wanted all the things that we were required. And so these were the Life Plan goals. And the thing was, how many years does it take? How many months does it take? How many dollars does it take? And so we just set it out, and we said, okay, it's going to be a 5-year goal before we get into a house like this. We got into it early. We moved in 2021, so we got in 3 years and 6 months instead of 5 years. But we live in the neighborhood and the house and the road that we chose 3.5 years before. So, I mean, it was setting a goal. It was knowing a goal. I stayed in close proximity to this physically, but I knew exactly what we were doing. Vehicles are the same way. All the stuff that I can't afford and I shouldn't have, that's what I really have to set goals for. And I don't know. I mean, I like Dustin's question. Are we setting too many goals? I think no, I don't think so at all. I think your two choices are don't set goals or set goals. And if you just have like 8 big ones or 3 big ones or whatever, it probably means you're already killing it. You're already crushing it. And that's kind of where some of us are. I wish more people were in here. But I mean, these guys are great guys, I think. I think they have the house that they want. They have the wife that they want. They have the kids that they love. You know, they're working on those things. Like those are my goals, is keep all of us together, I guess, every single day. Be the best dad I can be and be the family guy and not fuck up my own plan. So that's my goal nowadays. So that's what I look at. I'm gonna jump over here to Travis. He says, I challenge everyone to do a video or a post. I did this many push-ups today, or I walked, or whatever the fuck I did, and to push other dudes and push people to move. I'm currently watching my folks deteriorate, and they didn't move much. That's a good one.
That's the same thing. I want you to jump back on the goals and chunking them up and out, and you can incorporate this too. But Michael said 3
Yeah.
macros, and okay, you're going to hit that because we're all saying the same thing in different words and terms. So that's part of this group circle of men trying to talk and figure things out, because somebody's going to learn or associate something different. So please hit on that, because I have it, but I don't have it.
Tell me more right now, Sam, because he's got it. Or Michael, you can ask to join live, but it says 3 times micro equals 1 times macro times 4 equals 4 per year. So is a macro maybe a quarter, something like that? Get Michael to jump in here and tell us, and he can. So, T-Pain, yeah, here we go. What's up, Michael?
Yo, hey, man, what's going on? Sorry for getting on late. I got my other Tuesday night call, but I wanted to jump on here. Yeah. So what I was talking right to it. What I was talking about is I seen at the top y'all was talking about meso and micro cycles. So yeah, micro cycle, right? That's a month. That's how I look at it. 3 micro cycles hitting 1, and then progressive overload. So it's like, okay, we're talking about the gym, so I'm gonna set up my workout split. Like, this is kind of how I was, telling Sam in the beginning, we're going to stick with this workout plan. And a lot of the times I see people, one of the problems I see, and again, I'm talking about aesthetics. When you go for like strength lifting, it can be slightly different, but it's still going to go back to the same thing. You're going to hit your same movements. And instead of going in and doing upper chest, flat chest, decline, outer fly, incline fly, dumbbell pullover, like, instead of hitting 5 different parts of the chest, just hit 2 or 3 movements, the same angle, and load it up. And so month 1, January, you're going to go from January to the end of January, and you're going to write it down, and you're going to look back at the end and, okay, what did I do? I increased 15 pounds. I increased 3 or 4 reps. I increased my rest time. And then going into month 2, it's the same workout split. You're just changing one of the dynamics, one of the intensities. So you're adding the 15 pounds and you're starting over. Or I added 15 pounds. Now I'm going to go for how many reps? I'm going to shoot for 4 extra reps by the end of the month. Or I'm going to shoot to shave 15 seconds of my recovery time down. Now we're into March. Now we've added 15 pounds. We went for 4. We only got 2. Then this is where you decide, are you going to be somebody that says, I'm going to shift? Okay, I got 2. That's all I could wring out of the rag on that one. So now I'm going to shift to the intensity. I'm going to to the recovery time. I'm going to shave the 15 seconds down. But at the end of 3 months, hopefully on that incline or on that flat fly that you do, you've added 15 pounds. 4 reps, and you've went from 1.5 minutes down to 1:15. That's pretty good when you look at time under tension and how much stress you're putting on the body, how much more body fat you're getting rid of, how faster the metabolism is going to work, how much better the muscle is going to respond. That's 1 micro split. So if we did that 4 times, because there's 4 quarters in a year, at the end of that year, you should have some significant gains off of that. And I like to do that. I think, again, like I said, I love progressive overload. You're just progressively overloading as it goes. And that could be in anything in life, right? That it's a way. I've found it and I learned a lot through my bodybuilding area of my life. You know, you can apply these principles to almost anything and you can get really far. And it's just that whole 1% better. You're not trying to do everything. And when you can set up a plan and put it on paper, I'm assuming this is what we're talking about tonight. It's a great topic, because if you don't write down, you don't know where you're going. You don't know where you're going if you don't know where you came from. You got to write it down. You don't have to, but give that a shot and then compare going in and winging it versus going in with a plan. It works a lot better. And I'll give it back to you now.
Oh, you're fine, man. I appreciate that. Hey, tell me this while you're here. If a guy's already working out, you're doing your normal thing, what's a good, safe amount of increase in weight to look at? Do we look at a percentage, or what should a guy do to start increasing it steadily and just have a plan?
So everybody's going to be different. I would say, find where you're at. You know, if you're a big, this goes into body types as well, and then what we're doing, right? So like, are you an ectomorph, a mesomorph, or an endomorph? If you're somebody that's overweight, you're probably going to be pretty strong. Your increase in strength is going to go up really easy. The thing is to find what you're not good at and do that. That's prioritizing lagging parts. So an obese person should be worried more about their endurance, because that's where they're weak at. Somebody who's skinny and can do 10 pull-ups, 20 pull-ups, they should be worried more about doing weighted pull-ups, because that's the character at the end of the level that they're really trying to slay. So focus more on that. Don't focus on what's easy. Focus on, we can, if you need to in the beginning, if you're the type of person like okay, so let's get into like the dad topic, right? And the coaching topic, because that's important. The way I was coached was they told me I couldn't do something, and I'm going to do it because you told me I can't. Some people, you cannot coach like that. You tell them that they can't do it, and they're going to tuck their legs and say, well, thanks. That's what I was telling myself this whole time.
Sure.
And they're going to walk away, right? So those people might need some more wins under their belt so they can start believing in themselves. So that, I think, would probably, I don't know if that answered the question. That's like a tricky question. You can get into the percentages and get really like geeky about it. And then you can just go like old school and just, throw some chalk on the hands and just grunt and get it done. So I don't know how to answer that one. Did that answer it?
Oh yeah, I mean, increase it. That's what you said, and whichever one you hate the most, do that one the most.
I was going to
Yes.
say that's a slippery slope to answer that question as it was asked, because I'm almost done with my coursework and this personal trainer stuff, and it is. He says everything just absolutely to what the book says, but and then I just see T-Pain right here. If you look back at the very beginning of the Dude Reset, T-Pain, I was coming off massive life, shoulder injuries, all the things, but I didn't go to a gym for 2 years. But I got where I was doing 1,000 push-ups in a day, 1,000 air squats in a day. So body weight stuff, I think all of us in here, and I'm going to hit it right now, we shifted, but it's also goals, and this is also Dude Reset, and a lot of unhealthy dudes in here. So like, where to start? I don't know where to start. I don't know where to begin. What do I do? Start walking 20 minutes a day. Set a timer on your phone, 10 minutes. When the timer turns off, turn around and go back home. All of us live on a road, and we can all walk on the road. So you walk and you walk back 20 minutes every single day, non-negotiable, right? And you pay attention to how you walk. Don't slouch, don't slumber, don't look down. Like, start thinking about some things, right? And you start doing this stuff and you start getting this discipline. And I'm talking about 6, 8, 10, 12, 20 weeks, right? Same thing. Start with push-ups, 1 push-up. If you can't do a pull-up, do a negative. Jump up there and come down as slow as possible, right? There's absolutely the most basic things that we can do as men that we will feel like freaking titans in a matter of minutes if we just give ourselves the time and opportunity. So a lot of people are already moving their bodies, and if they're already moving their bodies, they're going to know how much to increase, right? Or you call train, you call me here in just a couple of weeks, call Michael, because it's not a question that you ask. Like I said the same thing to him. I said, I want to flex and I want to see friggin' muscles, and I don't care what that's going to take. And I thought he'd be like, oh, do this, yeah, you'll be ready. It's like the second you commit to yourself and you commit to any transformation, be it mind, body, or soul or spirit, right? Like this does not just happen, and you have got to commit. You have got to be consistent. We're not 20. We're not training for a beach volleyball weekend, right? Like we're talking about, we need to change our lifestyles. We need to affect everything that we're intaking, from our eyes to our ears to our skin to our food to our water source. Like we need to change so much that if you're worried about is it a 5 or 10 or a 20% increase, like you're on the wrong page of the book right now. And I don't say that to be
No, that's fine.
disregard to anybody, but like increase, you're going to know when you need increase. Can you do 50 push-ups? No, keep pushing. When you can do 50 push-ups, you can do 100 air squats. Then you want to chug a beer. That's that balance point for some people. So I'm not into the chugging beer. Oops, sorry. I'm not into the chugging beer thing. That was more a little plug for you, Jared. But
Sure.
but that's where you're going to be. Can you do 5 real pull-ups? Like, no. Well, we probably need to work on that. So, but I like what Michael said. And I want to get back to the goal thing. You take that micro, macro, and that progressive overload. That doesn't have to be totally bodybuilding gym oriented. That can be sales. That can be acquisitions, right? Like I'm moving 20 units a month. Why aren't you moving 100? Like I'm just curious. Like you got time for 20. There's probably time for more, And so it's like set that goal. Forecast that. What does it look like to move 100? If I've only been doing 20 or 25, like 30, I thought was a big deal, Like, okay, well, let's get to 31. Let's get to 32. What's that look like? What's 33 look like? And so you do that to anything in life. Teachers, school teachers, think about how boring lesson plans can get, like it's the same thing. No matter if you're a teacher or you're a corporate trainer or you're trying to bring a detail guy on and you want him to know why he needs to detail a certain way. You've got to set these goals. You set them high, you set them forward. And as men, we know if we have something to look forward to that's in our favor, we're going to bust for it. We're going to.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, and I'd like to add something too about the progressive overload. How the question about if we're adding too many goals. Yeah, I would say that not everybody's the same, right? And you gotta comparison thief of joy, right? So if this is your first time and you're new to this and you're new to, I mean, I would assume that there's people on this call that possibly have never even wrote a plan out in anything in life. They've kind of probably just done it, and maybe they've had plans. Like in college, they give you a syllabus or they give you your schedule and you kind of just execute. This is about taking ownership. And when you take ownership on things, sometimes this stuff can be new. And I would say for those people, yes, this could definitely, the stuff that we're talking about, especially like what I hopped on and heard, that could be pretty overwhelming to have 20 goals. But then also that could just be the brain and the way the brain is processing it versus what it actually looks like when you're applying it. So if that does seem too much, setting small goals, and then again, that progressive overload. Maybe this year, a goal is just, okay, this gym is new to me. Like I saw somebody say they're in their 60s and they never had anything like this. So maybe for that person, they could set, just one goal. I'm going to do one goal for this year. But then the other thing also is the beautiful thing about writing stuff down is that's where you get to go back and see what it is and what's being done. Maybe you set one goal and you go back at the end of the month, you look back and you say, well, I executed that. Well, hell, I executed that pretty easy. Like, I could take on some more. Good. Add some more to the plate. We are men. We are supposed to be uncomfortable. We did not come into this world for an easy life. The women came into this world and were supposed to be in their feminine and supposed to be in their creative being and be able to relax and be a housewife. I know that's not the world we're living in anymore, but that's because they are moving into their masculine, which is harder than the feminine when we're talking about things like this, right? This is masculine energy. This is waking up in the morning when you don't want to wake up. This is doing the things you don't want to do. That is uncomfortable. That is where we earn value as we grow in life, is because we are applying ourselves and getting that value. If you don't do things, you have no value. So if you want to be valuable, get the fuck out there and get those goals, right? Like get those goals in, start getting that and start earning your own personal value. When you earn that personal value, that's when you're going to say, daddy fucking likey, give me more, right? Like, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that beast kind of mentality. And that's the people that are going to show up day in and day out. They don't care whether anybody's noticing them. They're not there for the accolades. They're there for the results. And when you taste those results, you want more.
Yeah. I think that's awesome. And I mean, you said it there, set the goals, do the goals. Dustin replied, and he said, that's exactly what I see with new people going down new journeys. I encourage them to start small, mainly only one goal. Usually it turns on more goals. And I think that's, as you talk about this, Michael, like, I can immediately say, okay, well, my goal, I want to increase the size and my strength of my upper body, mainly. Shoulders, pecs, arms, bring those back to what they used to be 2 years ago, so I can make that goal. And then I can really make some little steps that easily address it. You know what I mean? And break into it. And all of this it is supposed to be madness. It's life. There's a bunch of life goals. Not to ruin it ourselves. That's one of them.
Well, and another thing about like what I'm liking about this topic is I have not been on social media and I have not been on the news, and I've had a few people calling me pretty upset over what's going on in the country and everything. And I get it. But this is not, to me, my own personal take, this is not the time to be a social justice warrior. It ain't going nowhere. It's dead ass energy. It's harvesting energy. And there's a lot more productive things that men could be doing with their time right now, like becoming more in their masculine, serving their family more, showing up for their family more, and being ready for whatever it is that's coming. And I'm not speaking fear, because I don't have much fear in my life, but I'm saying just to be cognizant of the time that we have. I talked to a lady earlier today, and she's being laid off, and she's like, just kind of acknowledging, like, I'm so stressed about my kids, and like, man, my kids have it so much better than I did growing up. And I think we could all agree with that. Life is pretty comfortable right now, even though it's kind of uncomfortable. But again, what I said in the comments, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. I don't think we're going to be comfortable anytime soon. And doing these things right here is building discipline. And in a time where weak men create hard lives, that's where we're in. So you better get tough, right? And that toughness is really like what I've seen in Sam over these last few years. He's just been a diamond in the rough, and he's constantly getting harder and harder. And that drive and that motivation that he has in his heart, I think we all see that and admire that. And he's not anyone special. The only special thing that he did was he turned it on, and he didn't turn it off. And it's really about just turning. I had a guy tell me about smoking cigarettes. It's so stupid. Count your money at the end of the year, put it to the side every month. And then most people won't do that, though. Most people don't do that to see how far they've come from something. They'll just stop, and they'll never really appreciate what that was. But it's like he says, we can argue about it, and and I'm a psychedelic integration coach. I deal with addiction a lot, and there is some grace that you give to people, but it's literally a switch. when you're finally done, when you're finally at that rock bottom, you just flip the switch, man, and maybe you need some psychedelics to rewire that neural pathway because it's so entrenched to just give up. But there's just a switch, and when we flip that switch, man, everything turns. And so, I think I talked about that last time. It's just there's not really too much to it, but to do it.
Yeah. I don't want to say that that's easier said than done because that's what everybody says. What you're saying is it actually is that easy, but you just have to do it.
Yeah. Les Brown, my favorite motivational speaker. It's simple, but it ain't easy. And man, I told myself that probably 500 times, not even exaggerating, because I tell myself that when I think about it's usually when I think about what people say, like when they give you those jabs, when you start putting the size on, people give jabs of their insecurities. And it's like, man, look, it's simple, but it ain't easy. I can tell you, people think like, oh, you're just going to take steroids and get big. Yeah. Okay, buddy. It's simple, but it ain't easy. Like the process, the training, the protocol. I mean, it's literally just a workout plan, and then the reps and the sets and the food and prepping the food. For somebody that's never done it, it can seem overwhelming. But then when you do it, you're like, oh man, this is actually so much easier. I'm not having to go shop through grocery stores. I know exactly what I need. I prep my food. My cooking time is actually less than what it was when I was making a meal every single night. It's easier. I'm in and out the door. I don't have to worry about going out to the bar. I'm saving money because I'm not blowing it on all these other things. I'm focused on these things. I feel better. But it's not easy. But it's simple, but it's not easy. And yeah, anybody can do it, man. It just takes the desire, and that's what Sam keeps driving home.
Yeah.
That's what I keep telling people. Like whatever I've been doing, I don't know, but I'm trying to crack the code and give the simplest formulation of life to men. And I think to answer your scenario question, Jared, I think the switch has to get flipped. However, and a lot of people use the term rock bottom. I was pretty fucking rock bottom, but like, I don't think that necessarily has to be it, but like, wherever that is for somebody, and however that is, that's where it is. Some guys, maybe they find it in their 20s, whatever, some guys maybe when they're 80. But I think once that switch is flipped, there's no going back because you can't unlearn what you've already learned. So, but the reality of what this group's about, it's not about, I mean, if you've hit your rock bottom, this is a good place to be. But the reality is some people don't even know they haven't been up or down. And the reality is we need a place and we need to have a pool of information that somebody that thinks they're doing all the right things, they're maybe not. And not to their own, it's not nothing bad about them. They just don't know. And we don't know what we don't know. It's impossible to know what we don't know. We don't know it. And so then, are we too proud? Is our ego in the way to learn something new? Like, shouldn't be. We're men, right? And so shift, measure, adjust. Learn something new. Shit happens. So that's where I come from. That's my angle. And the fitness angle is because that's what men need. Period. If we want to live long, productive, fruitful lives, we have to be physical, or we're going to die young. And I'm not the doctor or the scientist to figure that out. So don't shoot the messenger. But that's what I'm going to hear home till I'm dead, done. Anyway, get back on this list. Things are happening.
Yeah, I'm done with my list. I put it all out there. Set your goals and share them. T-Pain issued a challenge, which is great. Let's start talking about what we're doing each day. Talk about our increases, that kind of thing. But set those goals. I should put family first, but family goals, physical, mental, spiritual, and financial goals. Set them for 2026, and then determine how you're going to go get them, how you're going to meet them, and ask for help from the group. That's all I got. So you guys got anything else you want to wrap up before we get out of here?
I don't. I think this was a good thought process. I think this is going to be one of those videos that we're going to get more out of it after the fact versus in it. because all these words and scenarios are going to resonate in our own language in our own head. And then
Yeah.
we're going to come up with our own newfound whatever and move forward with it. So I'm good. I'll sign out.
Yeah, I'm good as well. I really like that, Jared, your final comment, all the different goals and being cognizant of those different goals, separating them and really, really honing in on them. The spiritual goal, I think, is a really important one. And the mental goal, I don't know if y'all talked about it because I got on here a little late, but, you know, man, I really wish that people could, how important the gym is for mental. I'm a disabled vet, mental health. I've been dealing with it for 20 years now, and it's been the sole thing that's kept me. It's the one thing that you can depend on. It actually helps. You don't need medication for it. I mean, it is medication. It's church. It's a way to get into a flow state. It's a way to get out of everything else that's going on and really, really just be in that place. It can be such a beautiful thing outside of the looks and outside of what everybody makes it out to be. The gym is such a mentally healing place if you can allow it and give it a shot. And I know some people don't have gyms and they do the gym at home, and that's great, because if you don't, you got to have something, and the gyms at home are good, but there's something nice about going to a gym. It's something about, getting a bag, throwing it in the car, getting there. Recommend staying out of your phone. Don't start scrolling. You're going to exercise for dopamine, and it is the best dopamine high that you can get, is pushing yourself past a limit that you thought you couldn't get to. It's the best high there is. And getting off of the phone and this repetitive dopamine hit, this little leech of what it is, compared to going in the gym and actually earning it, is really different. But I really liked all the goals of financial, family, and the physical, mental, and the spiritual. They're all really good. I'm sitting with mine. I'm one of those that's my year is coming up. My new year is starting here in a couple of weeks. So I'm going to be diving into this hard as well. And my goal, I can just say, my action. This is a call to action. And so just showing up, trying to make sure that I don't get too focused on next month or next week or tomorrow, and that I just stay present in today. Each day is the only day that we have. And if you can live in that capacity, and that's my goal for this year, is can I do it for 365 days? Can I wake up every day and only focus on today as if it was my last day? How much can I get out of that day? And how much slower will that day be? Will I go through the day just one thing to the next, or can I actually sink into it and be present? Can I be present in the conversations? Can I be present in my partner's life? Can I be present in my family's life? Can I be present in the people that I see at the grocery store and on the road? Just being present and taking action. That's my goal for this year. Thanks for letting me hop on. I appreciate it. I appreciate the chat. I'd love to see other people up here talking too, because the more that we can get this conversation going, the more that we can really start really seeing some good talks on here. Which, not saying that this one was bad, but I think the more that we get in, the more we can open this onion up.
Yeah. It's been a good start. This is the beginning of the month, right? Or the beginning of the year. January's goal was to do Tuesday Night Lives. All of January, we did it. Next month,
Let's go.
we'll be in February. So
We got to be consistent.
good job,
You
guys.
build
See you
it, they
later.
will come. You got to be consistent.
Yeah. Thanks. Have a good one.
Later, fellas. Appreciate it.
Bye.